I imagine, when you're working with people who invest, as I was talking about in my monologue, people are so afraid at the beginning. I mean, that first trade, their first investment. I mean, you must see that a lot.
That's right. They're scared to death. They don't think it's going to work out, even though they want it to. And you have people who want to go all in, and as soon as it goes down, they want to get out. And the key to making money in investing is to get on early trends and buy in and stay in no matter what it does, because eventually if it's a winning technology or a winning trend, you are going to make money. You just have to be prepared to ride it out. Peter Lynch, one of the most successful money managers of all time, said the key to making money in stocks or investing is not to get scared out of it. So you have to, when it goes down, you just have to say, oh, I'm good. Stick with it.
I mean, isn't there a point in time where you do have to bail?
Well, you want to take profits along the way, and you can step in. You can take profits, and then if it sells back down, you can buy back in at a higher price or whatever that is. A good example of that is Tesla Motors. It's been everybody's favorite stock this year. Right now, they're really in a downdraft. And, there's really not a catalyst that's going to drive that up that I can see. But if you bought in at, say, $25 and it's still trading at 120, that's a five-bagger.
Yeah.
Right?
So when you start working with people who are maybe going through this process for the first time, I mean, you just mentioned about, finding trends, whether they're in technology or they're, I guess, maybe not in technology. I guess they could be in anything, a service trend or product trend or whatever. When you start finding people who want to invest, and now you're starting to point out these trends, how does that kind of process work? What do you look for in trends, and maybe what trends are out there, and how do even trends then transcend the status quo?
Well, you're looking for something that's disruptive. For example, Netflix. That has totally been disruptive to the delivery of entertainment content in the country. And people get into that, and the stock has just been, it went up to 300 and something, and then it crashed down to 60, and now it's back over 300, and you just have to be prepared to ride that out. But it's those disruptive companies that are changing the paradigm. Amazon, for example, is getting their hands into so many different businesses, and they're willing to spend the money because they don't make a profit. Everybody's betting on them making a profit someday with all of that revenue. So you have to find those companies that are willing to do those kind of things, or that have something totally new, like LED lighting, for example. Probably within the next 5 to 10 years, that's going to be the dominant form of light bulbs. You're going to be buying LEDs, and they're not cheap.
No, they're not cheap.
I bought a couple.
And they take a second to turn on. You turn them on, and then they come on.
Right, but when they're on, they're on.
Right.
Unlike a fluorescent, which comes on and it's kind of dim, and then it,
they're much better.
Warms up a little bit, but the LED light quality is better. And yeah, you're going to pay, like I paid $35 for a floodlight for a stupid light bulb.
Right.
But it's probably going to last 20 years.
Yeah, it's like the last light bulb you might ever buy for that socket.
That's right. At my age, you start thinking about stuff like that. I'm not going to have to buy this again.
I remember in college, we were out, my dad was taking me to college, and we bought a dustpan. And the lady goes, if you take care of this dustpan, it's the last dustpan you'll ever have to buy. Who knows where it is now. It's some garbage in Tucson, but anyways.
Yeah, that's what happens. So, and again, with LED lights, for example, the cost of operating it is so much lower than a regular light bulb. Mm-hmm. So you're going to save money over time because, first of all, it lasts a lot longer, and it doesn't cost as much to run it. So it's a lot cheaper, even though the upfront cost is really high. So
and if you're the person who changes light bulbs in your house, imagine the lack of conflict you will have.
I know.
Every time a light bulb goes out, because no longer will your husband or wife be going, it's the light bulb's been out for a week, honey.
Yeah, why haven't you gotten up on that 30-foot ladder and taken care of that yet? Well, because I don't want to. But yeah. You save that, and businesses are going to those. Most new office buildings are all LED lighting because they aren't going to. They have no maintenance, and they don't have to replace it, and the operating costs are lower. Mm-hmm. So that's really a big trend now.
And so I guess what you're saying is you start looking for a trend in something that could eventually become the norm.
Yeah, or something disruptive like LED is that's an evolutionary or a revolutionary technology in lighting and energy saving. So another one is 3D printing. really that's the common name for it. Really what it's called is additive manufacturing. In other words, you start with nothing and you make something out of material, whereas most manufacturing is you buy a piece of material and you take stuff away, you cut it out, and you remove things. It's called subtractive manufacturing. That's how most manufacturing is done.
It's like building with clay versus sculpting with marble.
Right, exactly. So in 3D printing, there is a company that is coming out with printers that will make human tissue and organs. Like if you get your ear cut off in a car wreck, someday you'll be able to go in and they'll print you up a new ear. They'll plug your DNA in, put it in their machine, and in a few hours you have a new ear that they can put back on you.
Like, and it's it's a replica of your ear. That is crazy.
Yeah, or it'll be engineered so that it will fit with you with your DNA and it won't be rejected.
I imagine the ear is only the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, they're working on organ replacements. Like livers, for example, liver cells. It's
what
really
all my buddies and I drink. We're always like, someday, they'll just give me a new liver.
They'll just plug me in, pull it out, and plug in a new one.
That's right. This one's done.
That's right. So with 3D printing, I think what most people think about is, well, I'm going to have a printer on my counter in the kitchen. I'm going to make little gigas and toys for the kids. That's not where it's really going to be. The real trend there is going to be in manufacturing and new technologies. There's a company in Israel that has developed a 3D printing system that makes, wait for it, disposable underwear. Printing, not textiles, printing.
What material? I guess.
I don't even know what they're using for that.
It just fires particles together, essentially.
Well, it pulls something in, some kind of material, and it makes a three-dimensional piece, whatever it is. I've seen people make guitars in 3D printers.
That's unbelievable.
I haven't seen it, but I've read about that.
It's on those YouTube files.
You can check it all out you can check it all out on YouTube.
That's right.
Exactly.
So when you start to see, like a 3D printing trend, which that is revolutionary beyond. Printing ears is different than changing into a different light bulb even.
Right.
This is like an airplane versus cars. It's completely revolutionary. Even more so maybe. When you start thinking about the investment side of that, what process do you go through, and then how do you help a potential client realize, hey, look, this is a trend. This is definitely bucking the norm. How do you take somebody and help them, get into that process? Because like we were talking about earlier, they might be a little afraid. Like, oh, come on, Kim, 3D printing for new ears, Kim, that sounds a little silly.
Well, you have to take your capital and divide it up and decide how much you're going to put in the most risky piece, which would be a 3D printing. You don't know who the winners are going to be. We don't know. There are a handful of companies that are doing different segments of that, and if you've got $5,000 or $10,000 to put in that segment, you just spread it around, and then in a few years you'll know who the winners were. So it's a matter of balancing risk and reward, and some people want all the reward without the risk.
I think everybody wants the reward without the risk.
Everybody wants that, but you just don't get that.
Kim Miller joins me, certified financial planner with Sweetwater Investments. So Kim, sticking with this 3D printing and getting people into the risk and understanding risk and the reward, do you find that people, as they get started in investing, if they just lose a little, they can kind of lose interest in it? So many people are so much more interested.
They don't lose interest.
Oh.
That's when the phone rings.
Oh.
It goes down.
Right.
And what you have to do is retell the story. I'm a storyteller, and I'm always telling the same story. And this is what we decided to do. It's a trend. We decided we want to be on that, and we're just going to have to ride out those downs if we want to win. Because if we sell now, we're going to take a loss. It'll be a realized loss, and you're not going to ever get that capital back. So you just have to, I don't want to call it babysitting or hand-holding, but you have to help people manage the emotional impact of watching their investment go down below what they paid for it. But again, if you're on that trend or in that revolutionary new thing, you are going to make money. It just is going to take, probably going to take a while before everybody else catches on. So you're in early. you're going to get the big run-ups later that will occur when people go, oh, wow. How did I miss that? Then that people are buying, when it's doubled, and here you are, you bought in at, say, $10 and it's up to 50.
I think in terms of, looking back, like search engines, you could have bought Google and Lycos and, the 30 search ask.com, which still somehow runs bus ads. I have no idea how ask.com is even in the conversation. But you could have bought any of these. And I think what I hear you saying is, okay, you want to get into the search engine field, say 10 years ago or 15 years ago or whatever, not into because you don't know Google's going to be the winner at that point in time.
You don't know that. Right. You'd have to pick a few in the business and then just buy them and see what happens. And you're going to limit. Most people are going to want to limit that kind of a probability bet to X dollars. They're not going to take their whole portfolio and put it on an idea like that. That wouldn't be smart.
Until it is.
Even for me,
it's not smart until it is.
That's correct. Even for me, though, I wouldn't do that with my own money.
Right.
Just decide how much you want to risk on that, put it in, and forget about it.
Is there when you're helping somebody determine some of these numbers, what are some of the first questions you're asking them, or what are some of the things they need to answer for themselves?
Well, they need to decide how much money, if it's a retirement scenario, for example, I want to have X dollars a month when I retire, you've got to work that back into today's dollars to figure out how much they're going to need. What's inflation? What do you think inflation is going to be? I don't know, but everybody has an idea. You just crunch some numbers, and then you come up with the number, and then you try to figure out an investment strategy that's going to fill that gap, which there usually is one, to get them to the deal. But you have to keep on it. It's not a set and forget kind of a thing. It takes constant monitoring, and if you have a professional doing that for you, they're on your payroll. So they're going to do their job. If they don't do their job, you're going to can them. But that the professional in that business is going to do that job for you, take you through the emotional ups and downs, keep you on track, keep your portfolio balanced or rebalanced, and help you reach that goal.
And then hopefully at the end of it all, when you need a new liver or a new ear, you have made enough money where you can go use the company you invested in to print you one.
That's right. You'll have the money to pay for that.
It all comes full circle. Kim, thanks so much for joining me. Again, that's Kim Miller with Sweetwater Investments. We'll be right back after this break. I'm Ben Brashen. You're listening to Brashenomics.